Sasake Baratnas and Miko Ping. We are back again,
Fluent belter.
fluent belter. So we are here again on this journey of ours through season 2 of Expanse. This is Remember the Cant podcast where we are attempting to watch all the episodes, be they good or bad. This was a good episode, thankfully. And
Yes.
with me are Bala and Parvati. Say hi, guys.
Hey.
Hi everyone.
So in this episode, Miller has an ingenious idea and Bala is
I was
floating off his
about
Please.
doing a spacewalk of his own.
I was
Miller
about to do that as a start. I forgot.
uh, Miller has an ingenious idea of throwing the Nobu into Eros, and of course, Mr. Influenced Fred Johnson goes along with the
Good
plan.
idea. Oh, that's a good
It's
idea.
a
Yeah.
That's a good idea.
everything's a
So
good idea.
agreeable.
Very agreeable, Fred Johnson, Mr. Fred Johnson. And Holden was angry at Miller for the first 5 seconds. Then immediately he was like, "Yeah, yeah, I'll do your plan." So, so Parvati, what did you think about it?
Oh yeah, I really like this. That launch sequence for the Nauvoo was absolutely stunning because you
Yeah.
get the scale of that ship. It's so
Yeah,
huge. Also, I have a slight problem with how it navigated on its own because they didn't show anything, but we'll probably talk about that. But the sequence of all of those tugs attaching themselves to the Nauvoo, those little drones around the Nauvoo, and the firing of the engines was absolutely spectacular. I loved that scene. The visual effects, the sound effects, the music was amazing. And you can actually see how large that ship is,
yeah,
including even with the angel at the front, you can just see the sheer scale of this generation ship. And you also have some comic moments because you have all the Mormons thrown out of the ships, on the pretext of some radiation leak, and then everyone just merrily proceeds to steal the Nauvoo from them, which is pretty sad. But and then it was a very well put together scene, the launch sequence, along with making the Mormons disembark from that ship. And I really enjoyed that. That's probably, I think, what I enjoyed the most. And then you come to this portion of them trying to ram the Nauvoo into Eros. That one scene where they heard these spectral screams from all of those people who are infected by the protomolecule, they apparently see the Nauvoo coming for them. And then, it was kind of anticlimactic the way the ship veered off course. Not exactly the ship, but Eros. And then you have Miller sitting there with a bomb on his lap, waiting for it to detonate and constantly, tapping it so that the timer doesn't go off, which also shows how flimsy technology can be. And then the other scene I really liked was where Holden had to take that very painful decision to shoot down a hospital ship, or was it a hospital ship? The aid ship. And
yeah.
yeah, that he pretended to be a Martian Marine. He pretended to be very authoritarian with them. Nothing worked. He told them his real name. They wouldn't listen to him. And ultimately, he had to take that one decision to shoot it down. I thought that was a very well put together scene. So I enjoyed this. It was a good one. And then we came to the ending where it was, again, pretty spectacular. I really
Talk
enjoyed
about
it.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll do that. Bala?
Yes, this is the reason why I watched The Expanse. This episodes like this is exactly why I got hooked on to Expanse. Well, there are two other reasons, drummer and Bobby, but we'll keep that aside. No, actually, this gives you a good glimpse into the whole idea, a real threat, space, how dangerous it is, and what they are trying to do, the mission, the people involved, the intentions, the technology, all of that came together so well in this episode. I mean, I think I can point faults at it, like we always do, but I think this is very well put together. I mean, starting from the laying out of the plan, and then of course there's also the side stories which came out with Christian Avasarala, which we'll talk
So
about.
much happens in the rest
Yeah.
of the
Yeah,
episode. I forgot that there is a portion that's
yeah,
happening on Earth too.
Yes,
yes,
yes, yes. Even
yes.
so, that's of course so far not related to this. It's the bigger plot, but eventually I think they'll all come together. But this
Yeah.
one is the way they They thought about the whole thing. The idea of throwing a large ship like this at an asteroid, which is 16 kilometers in diameter, that itself is mind-boggling. It's just awesome, that whole thing. And us visualizing that whole thing, I mean, looking at it,
Yeah.
all the rich visuals, was totally cool. Yeah, we'll talk about the details.
Yeah.
But one of the details that I agree with Parvati, that whole tugboat thing, it's like you can, the parallel that you see is these small trucks pushing the giant aircraft back so
Yeah.
that the pushback. So it's sort of like that. And at the end, when the engines do fire up, you can see the gantry becoming yellow hot, red hot, and then yellow hot. One of the gantries. That much attention to detail, just fantastic.
Yes.
It's just too good.
Yeah.
The
Fantastic.
One
episode.
of those construction bridges becoming
Yes, yeah,
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 gantries.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
It was
Attention to detail was amazing.
amazing, really amazing.
Yeah.
It's such a nice
You
episode.
can see where the production budget has gone.
Yeah.
Everything
Yes.
related to the Nauvoo was brilliant. I was just mesmerized at
Yes.
how
It was
how
amazing.
intricate the details were
Yeah.
of each tug's
Yeah.
detaching
Attachment.
itself from the ship.
Yeah. Keep the geeks happy and you get some wonderful stuff.
Yes.
Amazing.
It was amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, even that one scene where the clamps release the angel in the front,
Yeah.
that itself was
Oh, yeah.
so vividly done. And yeah, you really know what the ship was supposed to do, but it was turned into something else.
Yeah, we should see that in IMAX or something like that. That will be
Yes,
give you such a
Yeah.
realistic effect.
it is.
But then you'll have to contend with other people's expressions on IMAX too.
Fred Johnson's face and his face.
Agreeable face. I would say. So the episode starts with them finding that derelict stealth ship,
Yes.
and the person who finds it, Davila, has he been mentioned
No, I don't believe
first
that.
time?
We
No?
have say I
No,
have
I
not
don't
seen.
think he has been
Because the
mentioned
drone
before.
has his name on it, so
Yeah.
maybe in sort of a logo. So Davila, the
Mm.
person, and the Davila is the company's.
Yeah.
The drone belongs to that company too.
Yes.
Then all the astronauts out there are recognized as Protogen employees,
Mm.
and I'm just trying to get the Earth stuff out of the we go back and forth from Earth to the ship.
No,
Avisarala was wearing a decent
Yeah.
sari this time.
Her characterization was pretty decent this
Yeah.
time in this
She
episode.
seems to have trouble walking with the correct attire. I think that's why she's given such atrocious attire, because the atrocious attire makes it easy to walk. This one she found it
Yeah,
to walk.
Mm. Yeah, but I liked her characterization here because
Yeah.
she
Oh, awesome.
really, yeah, it was so good. She put Erin right and Mao on the
Mao.
spot. And it was just, she knows her game and she's really unsettled both of them. And Erin Wright, of course, is in denial, saying that she has no idea what's going on. But I think Mao actually saw her
Now
for
figure
what
out.
Spot
she
on,
is.
yeah.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
he saw that
If
he's
It was
being
so
played.
satisfying to see Erin Wright floundering.
Yeah,
He saw his sugar daddy being cut off.
yes.
he's desperate to say, no, you need
No,
me,
no, no.
me.
Yeah, you need
Yeah,
me, not her, me. but that didn't quite. I think he came across as a bit naive and a
yeah.
little bit, he's floundering all over the place and he has no idea what he's doing and he got played and now he's dumped also on top of that.
Absolutely. Yeah.
The Avisarala had a brilliant dialogue in this saying, "Oh, these OPA agents who are supposed to be moles, they started a war and gave you profit and stayed under budget.
Yeah,
We should
recruit
hire
them.
more of these."
We should recruit them.
Exactly.
Amazing, like that was.
Yeah,
Uh,
she was so
so
good in this.
that's another thing I wanted to bring about. The dialogues were well written in this
Yeah.
Yeah,
episode. The dialogues were so well measured. I think somebody probably went through it and said which ones have the most impactful. I think something like that has happened. Because I found that the dialogues were correct, appropriate, right places, in the right
yeah.
length, not just rambling
Huh.
on lazy
The teleprompter.
Yeah.
teleprompter or lazy exposition. No, this is really well measured. I liked it.
Well, the Earth dialogues are the things that we already know.
Yeah,
So they are again
Yeah.
repeating
exactly.
the
Yeah,
stuff that
yeah,
we
yeah.
already
Repeating
know.
No, this is for the
it.
characters to know, and that's really boring. Yeah, that's why it's boring.
Yeah, that's why.
Yeah.
Because the first three episodes, I just think it's an info dump, and I think a new
Yep.
writer came in this one, watched the first three episodes. I'm like, what are you guys doing? They just came and shortened
Yeah.
everyone's dialogue. We'll
Yeah.
show, we'll show the
Cut
spaceship
all the
more.
dialogues.
Isn't this supposed to be a space show?
And I think the actors did a good job here, except
Yeah.
Naomi. That we'll talk about later. But I think all of them pulled this off really well because where they had to be intense, they were intense. And like, that's a later scene, but that one scene where Naomi had a tear, even that was, I guess, gravity accurate. It didn't flow. It just kind of stayed there. So it was a very, they paid so much attention to detail and pretty
Hmm.
Related
graphic.
to gravity, I had a couple of things,
Yeah.
Yeah.
like a couple of
Yeah.
Me. Pick me.
like it wouldn't even flow. It flowed a little, right? So it shouldn't even flow
Yeah.
because they
Yeah. They're
are
just a
not in
little,
artificial gravity. They are clamped down.
yeah,
Yes.
just
So
a little bit.
it should just
Yeah,
Yeah.
float
Flow
around
out.
it could be a sphere
Maybe,
and it
yeah.
could be floating
here.
in the air. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
I
we
think
saw
Yeah.
it only for, I think we
Have,
saw it only for a couple of seconds. So maybe it flowed off after that. I don't know.
now, have you read the comics Explorers on the Moon, Tintin? So in Tintin, Captain Haddock loves his whiskey. So they have the gravity on and he has whiskey, and suddenly it's off because one of the Thompson sticks grabs the lever and it turns off, and then the whiskey starts floating like a bubble, and he's
Mm.
also floating because he's had whiskey. It is completely gone, so he's floating. He's saying I'm a bird and all that, and suddenly the captain, the other people realize that the gravity is off. They turn it back on, and of course the whiskey falls splash on his face, and then so it reminded me of that the argument that we are having now. Should the
uh,
Yeah.
air float up
If
there?
we're
Or should
arguing,
we- Okay, we're observing.
observing. Even when they are when Miller and Diego are on Eros
Hmm,
on the catwalk,
correct.
is
I
there Eros's gravity acting on
I
them?
don't know
we
because
didn't
he
see so.
uses
Because
the
Yeah.
magnetic
the
boats, but he's struggling
Yeah.
to pull this up.
pull the yeah, it
Every
should be easy to
Yeah.
pull that
Yeah.
up.
correct.
It's easy to pull it up. That was a bit odd, actually, that
Yeah,
part.
16 kilometers of diameter of a asteroid. I don't think it has any gravity.
No, they
Yeah.
artificially must have made it because
Yeah,
people
they would have.
in our Eros scenes in season one,
Hmm.
everyone is walking as if it's a normal city.
Yeah, exactly. So they would have done something, but
So is it
didn't
rotating? I mean,
bother.
revolving? If it revolves, then yes, it can. No, rotate or revolve. Rotate. It has to rotate for it to
Yeah,
create gravity.
Did they show that? I don't think they showed that. So
I
there
don't
are a lot
think
of
so.
questions with
Yeah.
yeah.
regard to that.
Or it's
Yeah.
just a sci-fi switch, anti-gravity or
Anti-gravity
When
switch.
you want
something like that.
Miller to struggle, they make the gravity on. When you want them
Yeah,
to float away, they switch it off.
switch it off.
Yeah, because they were floated, right? Literally, they floated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So that means there's no gravity. Yeah,
I kind of,
I noticed that. That was definitely a fault.
the
maybe.
technology they were showing here was pretty interesting because you can build something as impressive as the Nauru, and it has its own Epstein drive and everything. So you have this well-equipped generation ship. You have these stealth ships. You have the protomolecule that has, I think, somehow achieved sentience because what it did at the end. And then you have Miller holding a bomb that is conked out because of debris, which is very,
Even before that,
yeah.
why do they need human intervention to deploy the bombs?
Yes. So
Yeah,
why didn't they use a drone or
yeah,
something?
it could easily
This is,
attach itself.
yeah,
Even
easily
Yeah,
even
a
today's
robotic
technology, you
drone.
can do that. You can just make
Yeah.
thing go and
I
attach to
mean, but
it.
how else would Miller be the hero?
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
question.
The
Question.
most important part of the whole thing is the detonator, and this guy has it
Yeah.
attached so that one jerk and the detonator just flies away like like one of those
Yes.
wrench
Yeah.
spanners, right? So why
And
would
And
that
that
seems to be
Diogo
theme
had
here.
a
uh,
Yeah.
spare.
a spare? Oh,
Yes,
surprise!
fair. Yeah.
A
Very
spare.
surprised.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
No, I like the fact that the debris from one scene, the stuff that happens in one scene and one
Yeah.
sequence affects the other.
Yeah.
I like that idea.
Yes.
But then it has to do this, make him stay there. Well, this interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
It's one of those, if you've seen South Park, the people who make South Park, they had a lecture series somewhere.
Ah,
They
if
say
then,
your sto but yeah,
if
your
then,
story
but.
shouldn't have, the scene shouldn't have
Uh,
Yeah.
and then as the middle point. It should have
Oh,
but,
yeah,
because
yeah, yeah, yeah.
something like one leads to the another or something like that.
Trey Parker, and
Matt Stone.
Matt Stone. Yes, I use that same clip in my classes too. If then, but.
If that, but yeah.
But yeah.
But maybe, yeah,
When
maybe these guys did that too to make it believable. That's,
yeah,
uh,
the when at the beginning of the episode was the idea of pushing Nauvoo into Eros and Eros into the sun. Was that
Ah,
discussed in the last episode, or was it new information in this? 'Cause-
remember the
that
sun
was
part.
new
Because
information. Frozen.
when we discussed it last, our idea was, that's why we were speculating, how are they going to detonate, blow up the
Yes.
planet, right? Blow up the asteroid.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Ah, yes, it wasn't
So
there.
now, so now we are clear that it's going to try and direct it into the sun and not
Mm.
Yeah.
and destroy. I think the bombs were to destroy the docks of Eros. Is that what it was supposed to do?
I'm lost.
I'm lost.
Yeah, maybe.
I forgot why the bombs were relevant.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. If it's going,
Maybe to dislodge it from its orbit, and
Mm.
then Nauvoo would push it
Steer it
to a,
towards
to a
the.
steer it to a direction.
Yeah. Right. This is the one episode where I felt really sorry for those Mormons. They had all this. They funded this big, huge generation
Yeah.
ship and then stolen. They were just booted out of there, and the ship was stolen from them.
yeah.
But the money, you
Yeah.
need to, then you go to the socio-political aspect of, where did the
Yes.
money come from?
Where did the money come from?
Probably not
Very
legit
suspicious.
sources.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm.
And Miller, I
While they
think,
were
gives a good
discussing,
reference. Yeah.
the plan, Miller's hair was so ugly. Put a hat back on him again. It was so horrible. I couldn't look at it.
What did he do to it? Did he gel it down? It looked weird.
It's very weird.
That was his belter earth look. So
Uh,
he had to look.
Avasarala had a bit of a problem with her hair. It looked like a wig. And
It
Okay.
probably is.
yeah, it probably is a wig, so it looked like one. It was
Uh,
too poofy. And then you
yeah.
come to Miller. I don't know, it looked like a slug on his head.
Yeah. They recruited Rossi to give them cover.
Yeah.
From what?
From
Yeah. Yeah.
From
same
what is
question.
the question?
I
One ship.
don't know.
They if a full battalion, like they showed, like UN,
Ah,
there would be UN and Martian ships behind them. What is one Rossi going to do to give them
Oh,
cover? It's
yeah.
just
I
for
wrote the
plot point
exact.
purposes. They had
yeah.
no.
No, I had the exact same question. To cover and deliver
Yeah.
deliver what?
Yeah, exactly. When he said that, when Fred Johnson said we need the help of the Rossi, I thought, for what? Why?
Yeah.
Why do you need to just direct the ship over there? And why did
Yeah.
we need a full battalion of so many people? And because only two of them disembarked to place the bomb,
Me,
but we
others
needed,
also.
yeah, all of them disembarked because we just
Yeah, all
saw,
of them disembarked.
yeah,
They were
okay,
on Guy
that's fine.
Molinari, and each one of
Right.
them got like a certain
Then it's
allotment
fine.
of
Yeah, I missed that
Right,
part.
right.
Then it's okay. Then that makes sense. But why do we need the Rossi? It's
Yeah.
like a
plot reasons, Parvati.
plot reasons. No questions. No questions.
When the
Because
poor
plot.
Mormon guy,
We need
uh,
Rossi for later use, so we need them around there We can't suddenly.
What if there is a ship full of doctors that you need to kill? Who will kill?
Yeah,
Uh,
exactly.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
uh,
That was just to show Holden up in his glory
yeah.
or
That was a
whatever.
nice scene, but
Yeah, it was.
okay.
Because he ultimately he had to just let go after doing that. And I think the biggest mistake that Doctor made was to tell Holden that they were going to broadcast news of this protomolecule, and that was, I think, sealed his fate. It cost
Yeah.
Holden had to take a decision at that point, and he did it. There was no
Yes.
heroics, or he
So
couldn't,
Holden is against
Yeah,
other people broadcasting everything
yeah,
to the
I
guests.
was thinking
yeah,
of the irony of
exactly.
that situation. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, double standards.
Yeah.
Uh, exactly. It's incredible.
There are
Um,
two references in this where when Miller is talking to Naomi, he says something related to pound of flesh
Ah,
and
yes.
some other thing I forgot. Naomi says open sesame.
Mm.
Will these I was just taking along the lines of will, like one is Merchant of Venice and one is Alibaba reference, right?
hmm,
Yeah, 40 Thieves.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
okay.
I was just thinking how persistent will these phrases be in the future? I was just thinking along those lines.
Hmm.
Yeah, I guess some of them would survive. But I also feel like if you're so far into the future, you'd have your own phrases because technology is so different. Your stories will be different. Maybe your mythology would also change quite a bit,
Yeah.
depending on how many stars and planets you've discovered and you've discovered what's out there.
Maybe they're
Yes.
just using the phrases. I don't know what
Yeah.
uh, it means or its origins are,
But we
as we
also
do
Okay.
have
probably a lot
Rocinante.
of.
Yeah, but we also have
She
Rocinante.
was nice to
Nice.
me.
Nice. She was nice to me. So anything goes.
No, I liked Alex is on a wing and a prayer. He just mutters to himself more like, but he
Mm.
says on a wing and on a prayer and a prayer on a wing and a prayer.
Yes,
I think
yes.
So
Alex has barely 5 minutes in these 4 episodes combined. It doesn't get
Very
anything.
little screen time. Very little screen time.
no,
But
there are some punchlines, right? This is part of God's plan. Miller says that's another punchline
yes,
I heard. Yeah,
yes.
the Mormons are
Actually,
yelling, saying, "This is all part of God's plan." He says, "Yeah, this is part of God's plan."
He tried to get them to sit down for he did try twice. Okay, to
mm,
his credit. Then he says, sit the fuck down.
yeah. I mean, you can't really blame the Mormons also. I mean, you just sashay in there and say, look, we need your ship. We're going to ram it into that asteroid over there,
Yeah.
far away.
Couldn't be upfront about it, of course.
Yeah.
uh,
Uh,
and this another punchline is, "You are meant to go to a new sun," and he
that
leaves
was
it.
a nice
Fred leaves it at
uh,
that. That was
that
good.
was a nice dialogue,
Yeah,
nice piece of line.
Yeah.
But
it
coming
was.
from him, it felt disingenuous.
Ah, okay.
Felt he's acting too much.
Yeah, like Rocinante again.
But come on, see, Fred has worked so hard to build this one, right? So, and
Yes.
then asking him to ram that ship on an asteroid like that,
Mm.
I guess suddenly you start becoming very philosophical,
Yeah.
right?
But we have
He's
already established that he's very agreeable. So,
no, I mean,
If the Mormons could have asked him to just
yeah,
don't ram our
why
ship in,
didn't
he would have agreed to that too.
anything anybody says, he's like, yes, I will do it. Just
Yeah.
ask.
uh, I'm thinking the parallel is taking the so French decided to build the Statue of Liberty so that they can be gifted on whatever the centennial of their
Mm.
independence. And but suddenly you need it for some other purpose, like ramming it to open up, I don't know, their enemies. It's akin to that, right? So like, okay, fine. George Eiffel said, was it George Eiffel who built that? I don't
No, no.
know, huh?
Uh,
Okay, some French
It
dude.
he was. Yes.
Uh,
Really?
The same. Yeah, because
Same
if you
guy.
look at the inside of if you look at the inside of the Statue of Liberty, its structure is apparently very similar to the Eiffel Tower. Same
oh,
guy.
okay.
Ah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay. So like I say, sir, oh, okay. I meant it for a different purpose. Fine, if you want to
Maybe
ram it on a
Yeah,
tank
just do
that's
it.
coming,
Yeah.
so
maybe it was meant to ram into you into New
Yeah.
York, but
just
the
wouldn't
ship
go
was so
further.
Yeah.
slow. They thought it was a gift, so
They
just,
thought
so
it
just
was a gift
accepted
and then like, let's
it.
put it on display.
Yeah. Eventually go from copper to green.
Oh yeah.
Oh
Uh,
boy.
Drummer is not named in this episode too.
Oh, come
Either,
on.
yeah,
What's
she's
up with
not.
that?
The
I
name
was
comes up
read.
in the subtitles,
Okay.
not named at all.
I don't know. What's
She's
up
not
with
named,
that?
and her screen time was also pretty short
Yeah,
compared
yeah.
to
She'll get enough
others.
later.
Yes, yes. She's not
Ah,
named here again.
and I read up
Mm.
about this LADAR. Okay, LADAR and this that is laser detection
Light
and
radar,
ranging.
right?
Mm.
Laser detection and ranging, and there's a LIDAR, which is the light detection and ranging. So they
Mm.
use similar technology, but for completely
Mm.
different purposes. So LIDAR is
Yes.
used for moving objects and is used by the military to detect the position of moving objects very, very accurately. They don't care
Hmm.
about the shape or the structure of the moving object as long as they know where it is. LiDAR, on the
Okay.
other hand, is to map objects, like to see what it shape it looks like and all that. So, okay,
Okay.
trivia closest now. Okay, so I read up about that LiDAR because I was curious.
Somebody explain Naomi to me, please.
Yeah.
He didn't have much to do anyway in this.
But she was so inconsistent. On the one hand, you have, I think towards the last, that was how you would expect her to be when, she had that single tear. That was what the kind of personality you would expect her to be. But she seems so inconsistent in this one. When she went to talk to Miller, it seemed like one type of personality. In the beginning, it was something else. It's hard to relate to her.
And suddenly she was like tech support. Give me that number. I'll log in. I'll crack that
Ah,
that thing open.
yes.
Yeah.
It's very inconsistent. It felt like watching 4 or 5 different personalities with the same face.
So why are UN ships heading towards Eros now suddenly? Because they see a lot of this activity, the now
Yeah,
and all of
UN and
that.
Yeah,
Martian ships too, right?
Oh,
In
is
that
both.
it?
I saw
Yes, both.
red
Okay.
ships also in that graphic that they
Yeah,
had.
there's a whole fleet, I think, going towards US. But that's what they were worried about, whether those ships would catch up with the Nauru, but they won't. And the Nauru was too
Yeah.
fast for them. Which is another thing. That ship actually functioned a lot better than we give it credit for. Given that it was actually a generation ship built by this group, the Mormons, somehow I had the impression that it would maybe fire up like the Canterbury and be all rickety and not quite there, and maybe it would just fall apart. But this was so well built that
Yeah.
it was a spectacular ship, far better than anything you could have imagined, and they want to ram it into Eros. That is sad.
Now I think maybe because they call it a temple, the
Yeah.
level of detail that goes into building temples all across the world, where no matter what
Mm.
faith it is,
Yeah.
I think that's probably the care and dedication they took in the design to the fact that it has to last 100 years. So it
People
can't
have to live on
be a
it too,
ship.
right? Like
Yeah.
Yeah,
properly.
correct. So I don't think they could
True.
have been careless about it.
It's not just that, because in my head, I was thinking that this is a generation ship and they're using it for something else entirely, and it is still functioning quite admirably. So it shows that it's got some versatility to it, which I did not expect. They're using it at full power. And was it even finished, is the question I had, because
Yeah.
they were
But the
the last,
versatility question is,
yeah, I mean,
if you put your head to it, anything
yeah,
can be a battering ram. So
true. That is true. No,
even
no,
your
no.
head
My
to
point,
can.
no, 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 that is true.
Yeah,
What I was
there, so
actually
it's back.
thinking was, what I was actually thinking was they were able to fire it up so quickly,
Yeah,
considering that the impression I had was it was not fully finished. But they were
yeah,
able to fire it up so quickly, it did not come apart. It was doing whatever they wanted it to do, it was doing pretty well. It went on course and it seemed to be moving really, really fast, which means it's got some spectacular technology to it. So I was pretty impressed with how it was done. And it,
yeah. I would
especially
think
since,
exactly. I
yeah,
would think it would take a day or so to just start
yes,
everything, right? To
yeah, that's
detach
what
and
I
start
thought.
everything because you have to do because it's a generation ship, as you said. Yeah.
Yeah, but
Fully
that was the thing.
operational battle station. As a,
No.
as the Emperor puts it
Yeah,
in Return of the Jedi.
I was trying to do Avisarala's voice while she was talking. I thought you were doing that.
Oh boy, it came out like that.
Yeah.
yeah,
No, Jamaic. No,
yeah,
I can't.
Once more, the Sith will rule the galaxy, and there shall be peace. Uh,
Hilarious.
yeah,
mm.
Amos is so
yeah,
happy to drop the
Ah,
bombs.
yes, I had written it down.
yeah.
Yes, bombs away. I always wanted to
Bombs
say
away.
I
that.
always wanted to say that he's so happy. At least he's happy.
This is a large trigger for him. Like
Yes,
I pulled it.
Yeah,
Yes, something's gonna get blown up.
something is going to
yeah.
get blown up. I'm so happy. I want to watch this.
Amos was
Bomb.
awesome.
Yeah.
I was wondering if you'd say something inappropriate when they had to blow up that doctor ship, the
Hmm.
hospital ship, because that was, yeah, but
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That would have
yeah,
diluted
he
the
was,
whole set, the gravity of the situation.
yeah, it was,
Yeah. No, that was a very well done scene. Holden was like 100%. He gave his 100% on that.
yes. He tried so hard to get those guys to retreat, but they wouldn't.
Mm.
Their fatal mistake was, of course, telling someone who had already broadcasted something that they're going to broadcast something themselves. So it was
Mm.
a,
If Miller hadn't discovered that, they would have left
mm,
uh,
yes,
as they were, right? They
Yeah,
wouldn't
yeah,
wouldn't
yeah,
have
yeah.
they would
done anything.
Exactly.
yes. The, those were, it all came together very well. That's, plot wise. I liked that.
So
Mm.
marasmus is a severe form of malnutrition.
Oh, really? Okay.
Why would you name your ship after it?
Might as well call it scurvy or something like
Something like that. Yeah, it's
Scurvy?
at least ship appropriate. People on the
Yeah,
ship get
Correct.
yes.
scurvy.
Just call it
Scurvy
a
would have been a
scurvy
better
dog.
name.
Yeah,
Yeah.
But the gravity Holden
yeah.
fires on ship.
Hey, I like this one too. The Miller Diogo exchange, and he says maybe I'll go sell market water, and he hints at obviously
Uh-huh.
Diogo's earlier
Yeah.
profession. That
Yeah,
was
that
Yes.
was too much for me. I like
really, you didn't
even in
like
the
it. I
last
liked it.
even in the last Guy Molinari scene, the last episode,
Okay.
last to last episode. Even
Yeah.
then, their first introductions were related to that particular scene of him
Hmm.
catching him selling black market water.
Hmm.
And in this time also, like, there were a couple of exchanges. I got
Hmm.
tired after a while.
Oh,
Uh,
I forgot about
Every
it. So
time they
maybe
do
that's
so,
why I
yeah.
liked it. I completely forgot about. Ah, yeah, the
uh,
aqua one. Okay, so he
Yeah,
yeah.
brings it up.
Aqua.
Ah, right, right, right.
In
Oh,
this, then Diogo flips again and says, "Oh, I know more than you, something Starfleet."
Yes.
And Miller
Star
Yeah.
thumbs him
Helix.
down again. Star Helix,
Hmm.
sorry.
Star Helix. Well.
That was a handy little sealant when his this got punctured.
Hmm. Yeah,
And he
looks like
panicked
that
for 2 seconds.
standard.
Yeah.
Yeah, looks like that standard kit that when I was as a puncher, you bring that
He
out.
panicked so much at that time that I wondered if he would get the patch on time. It
Hmm.
it kind of added to the suspense of that scene. He really,
Yeah.
Right.
really panicked when the debris hit.
Hmm. No, I'm thinking that scene was that those dialogues were necessary because
Mm,
now he is on a sacrificial path. So
Yeah.
he's ended where Julie is dead presumably, and he's will be sacrificing himself also. Sort of wanted that to happen rather than this boring life of going back to the to series and picking up wherever he left off. So that wouldn't be something that is good for him. So probably I'm thinking this sacrifice is for him better.
that scene where the Navu was, I think
So
Bala's audio got
Bala's
cut off.
audio video is
Cut
mismatched.
off. Yes.
Your audio is coming out fine, but your video is a bit delayed.
Okay, is this better now?
It's better now, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's better now. So I was saying that that scene where Miller is waiting for the Nauvoo to approach, and you see the Nauvoo getting closer and closer on the viewing screen. It was a chilling moment, and then suddenly it just veers off course. Something veers off course. It's Eros, not Nauvoo. I thought that was so. Miller here is he has accepted his fate. He is waiting for death. He has a bomb on his lap. He has he believes that he has fulfilled his life's purpose, and then that chance is denied to him in some ways because the now
Mm.
just goes right over Eros. I don't know how he's going to reconcile that and how he's going to wrap his head around it because he was so ready to just let go, but that chance was not given to him. I thought that was very nicely done,
Yeah.
especially at first. I thought that this was a cop out because you just want to save Miller, and that was a story idea to just let him go and survive and have the now who have some malfunction and go off on another, some other direction and change course. But then you find that it's actually Eros that moved. Now who's still on course? So,
Yeah,
yeah.
that was the most unexpected thing that happened in that episode. Yes, absolutely. I'd say the ending is awesome. Really, really awesome.
Screams was something, my goodness. The spectral screams that you heard coming from Eros.
Ah,
Yeah.
yes.
It seems like the place is just alive,
Alive,
sentient.
yeah. That was a great last line. Now we didn't miss.
Yeah,
Eros moved.
Eros moved.
Even the shot when now is coming
Mm.
towards Miller,
Mm,
that's going to
Uh.
be a thumbnail for the for this episode.
yes, yes.
Ain't that
Great
silly?
shot.
It says.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was awesome. That was also really good. Space.
When he was holding the bomb, why couldn't he just throw it off the bridge? The when he had his finger on the pulse of that bomb, Miller.
Mm.
Yes, 60 seconds. That's what they say.
Yeah,
But
it was malfunctioning, right? It would detonate before time. Is that it?
if he if he had thrown it off and
Mm,
like the debris that came towards him because it had velocity from that explosion,
mm,
in 60 seconds would have been enough time to get it far enough to explode away from the station and not trigger the other bombs. Why didn't
Oh.
just do that? If there is
there are some questions. I mean, he had enough time to let Naomi override the settings for the bomb. He didn't let her do that. He really
no,
wanted to
he
go
had
along with
time
it.
for that, but they wouldn't have time to rescue him.
True, he really just wanted to sacrifice himself
He
in the most
just wanted to
gruesome way
die.
possible. Yeah, in the most gruesome way possible.
Yeah,
But then the Nauvoo goes and misses. So,
because you're important for the
yeah,
plot. Now said, Eros said.
yes, Eros. Yes. It's one thing that struck me as a little bit jarring was when they just, that's just me, when they heard all of those screams emanating from Eros. Not one of them connected kind of they didn't really think that maybe there's something on Eros that is potentially alive, as in the station as a whole. There's something about it that is very alive, sentient. It didn't strike any of them, which I thought was a little bit jarring for some reason. Maybe they'll discover that later.
But didn't Cortázar tell them that protomolecule is alive? It's a different life
Yes,
form.
he did tell them that. And that's why I was thinking when they heard all of those screams, I don't know, something was going through my mind, something like, wouldn't they place it that perhaps the entire station is now infected, and the protomolecule is functioning as some kind of supercomputer, a biocomputer. It's doing something over there that is a little beyond what they were expecting, and maybe it has harvested all of these people together to make a hive mind. I don't know. So I was just thinking that it just seemed a little strange that they heard the screams and they didn't think enough about it at the time.
No, but they're so focused on their job at hand. They have a huge
That's also true.
hurtling towards this asteroid. They have
Yeah,
these people with the nuclear bombs. So many things
that's true.
happening.
That's very
So
true.
But
I
they
think
are not even classifying it as a scream. It's static,
Yeah,
as the last
it's
episode
static, but there were those
was
whispers,
titled.
I think. Those whispers and some
Yeah, no
sounds they
one
did.
no one
Yeah.
investigated what those
Yeah.
whispers are. Could have zoomed in Audacity and see what
And
it meant.
didn't we hear in the previous episode that they're actually communicating and nobody investigated that? The scientist in the previous episode, I forget his name, he mentioned that
Cortazar.
there is some form, Cortazar, right? He did say that there was some form of communication that is taking place within those whispers and that it is not just noise. But
A lot of questions around gravity, but I think I
mm,
could just chalk it off to plot. The plot
yeah,
needed it.
plot with a capital P, plot.
Yeah. Otherwise, when even if the whole planet is or whole asteroid is sentient, how does a body in space move itself without
Yeah,
any
okay.
external impetus? Like it
maybe
needs some kind of like
maybe
a push
yeah.
away to go in another direction, right?
You think it has something that the protomolecule managed to repurpose for this? Because from what I can see, it seems to be a very advanced intelligence once it gets its hold on living organisms. And the hive mind, from what I can understand, actually accelerates its intelligence. So maybe it repurposed something on
Some
Eros.
mechanical thing, something like
Yes,
that.
yes, something like that. Maybe it repurpose something so that it can achieve that acceleration and movement on its own.
Yeah,
Still doesn't
maybe.
make that much
That's
sense.
the only
Yeah.
explanation because even as humans, I've seen, I don't know why I go into these rabbit holes, but I've seen Reddit and other Ask Scientist kind of subreddits, and where people ask if I'm floating in space and I pee really hard, will I go away in the other direction?
Acceleration in the
So
direction you
maybe
want.
that happened. Like there's a large fart that everyone.
Yeah.
Okay, so on a serious note, it says that the entire planet is generating energy. At some point, they do mention that there's a lot of energy generated in this. My guess is it's some way of propelling itself as well. That's my best guess.
If energy is generated, then they used one half of that asteroid to just blast itself and just something like that.
Yeah.
Something like that. I don't know. It just weird.
Create explosions. Other than explosions, I don't have any other explanations for how it
Why
moved.
it moved
Yeah,
on its own and so
Yeah.
accurately and so quickly, because the Nauvoo speed
correct.
it was very fast,
Yeah.
approaching it very
Yeah,
fast, and at the last minute it managed to maneuver
yeah. Step
away from
aside.
the Nauvoo. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Missed it.
Sucker.
yeah,
It's one of those you go in for a handshake and they do, hey.
yeah, like that, and then you want to hit something because they did that.
So,
Yeah, that's what it felt like.
Too slow. Yeah.
too, too slow.
Anyway, it was a
Upside down,
scene,
low, too slow.
nevertheless. Nevertheless.
We recapped the whole episode, and
Yes.
hopefully, in the next episode, we'll get more answers. Join us again to
If you still
reveal
want
if
to.
you still want
If
to.
you still want,
And if
don't
you're
give
still
people
sentient,
ideas. Yeah.
yeah, If a sentient human or sentient protomolecule that's inhabiting a whole
Yes,
asteroid.
since the sentience of humans is in question, I very much doubt that
Yeah.
humans are sentient.
We are sentience friendly. Our podcast is very much sentience friendly, so
Yeah.
protomolecules can listen to it. And as we say, don't forget to remember the cat.
Remember the cat. I was like, don't
Remember the
forget to
cat.
what? Remember the cat, or else.
Or else.